Okay, abusua ɛyɛ NPP Kpandai constituency rerun of elections ɛba abɛkɔ so no abusua ɛyɛ 1,400 fake votes NPP ɛde rege election during 2024 December elections. Abusua finally ɛyɛ court ɛkɔkɔ tena ase no court ɛtumi identify 1,400 votes NPP de reggae elections na abusua enye asam ketewa kwa Dr. Rashid Tanko aba be my hot details on NPP 1,400 voter on the reggae elections as you see and rerun of elections no eba be so unsubscribe subscribe like and share my phone so and into me NPP Ghana politics avenue.
Yes, there should be a concern for you, is it not? I mean, with what is going to be happening at the Supreme Court tomorrow, with the decision that it will take on the application by Matthew Nyendam seeking to quash that declaration or the decision by the High Court that has led to this rerun of the elections on the 30th of December. It should be of concern to you, is it not?
Alfred, let me say good evening to you and your cherished viewers across the globe. Alfred, I can report authoritatively that our candidate, Honorable Wakpa Nsala, has not been served.
He has not been served.
Yes, he has not been served.
But this was filed sometime last week.
That I am telling you on authority that our candidate has not been served. So as it stands now, we don't know anything about something like that in court. I mean, so we are not going to any court tomorrow because if you are not served, what are you doing in court?
So the hearing tomorrow on this application by Matthew Nyendam seeking, one of the reliefs is that he wants the Supreme Court to quash that decision by the High Court that has led to this rerun. He says that based on the timing of this petition, it falls outside of the time allowed by at least the references to Section 18 that we just read to you. And you say that all of this you have not been served. So tomorrow you are not going to court. That's really what it is. You are not going to be present.
Yes, we are not going to be present. We have not been served. You only get service if you are served properly. Then you have to appear before the court to answer to charges that are brought against you in the service. But as we speak now, our candidate has not been served. They know it. If you ask them whether they have served our candidate, he has not been served. So what are we doing in court tomorrow? To come and do what? We are law-abiding citizens. And we know our left and right when it comes to the legal issues. And so therefore, we are not going to court tomorrow because we have not been served. And then so we are not answering any question anywhere until we have a proper service and then we can respond appropriately. But need that is be, Alfred, these people, they will stop their propaganda.
What are you
saying?
You
are in opposition.
What do you mean?
They are still doing propaganda.
Oh, they are saying to you that despite petition being filed beyond the 21 days after the Gazette publication, the High Court judge overlooked that. And in fact, the petition was filed, according to his main concern, 32 days after the Gazette publication. That's the argument he's taking to court. How do you describe this as propaganda?
Alfred, Rashid? The matter started on 25th January 2025. That was the day we filed this application. After we filed that, there was a case management where issues were set, issues to be decided by the court. 3 issues were set. At the case management, the lawyers of first respondent, second respondent, and first respondent. First respondent is Martin Yindam. Lawyers of Martin Yindam was at the case management stage. They were there. They didn't raise any issue about the issue you are talking about. Indeed, we initially filed, Alfred, I'm bringing this one to your notice. We initially filed on 23rd December 2024. At that time, NPP ran to court with a motion that they should strike out our application because at that time there was no Gazette notification. And they moved the motion on the 6th of January. And that was the day when they were moving the motion, they brought the Gazette notification of 6th January 2025, which I have a copy here. And it was Monday, 6th January 2025. So when our attention was drawn to it, we quickly withdrew that, the first one we filed, and now filed a proper one on 25th January 2025. Alfred, calculate 6th January to 25th January. How many days? Is that not 19 days?
Yes.
Simple mathematics. We filed within the stipulated time. At the case management, they were quiet. Was their lawyer sleeping? So does it mean that for 11 months that we have been cross-examining them and they have been cross-examined as we cross-examined second responder electoral commission, they cross-examined them. Then on the 14th of November, lawyers of Martin Yindam wrote their written addresses to the court. I'm sure every lawyer will tell you what it meant by written address. It means you are concluding your issues, their defense. They were concluding everything about their defense. In that document, I have a copy here. It was filed on the 14th November 2024. In fact, 20 clear days.
Anyway.
And then on the 24th of November, the judge made a ruling. In their closing addresses, there's nowhere they mention about we lacking capacity to bring the application because we did it at outside the stipulated time. None. There was nothing of that sort. This is propaganda. If not propaganda, how will you describe this again?
I see. Well, we will be in court tomorrow, and our legal affairs correspondents will be there. So whatever.
My friend, we will not be there.
Well, you will not be there, right, as you have stated.
Yeah, because we are not being said.
Okay. That's
on
record. But whatever the court decides, we'll definitely let our viewers know, because if the court upholds the case or the argument put forward by Matthew Nyendam, what that effectively means is that there will be no rerun of the elections as announced on December 30. But then again, how the dynamics of now we're getting to know from Rashid Tanko Computer that they have not been served, how that will impact on the case tomorrow, we will get to know. But there's another issue, and that's what's coming up next. It's still staying on Kpandai. The latest Global Info Analytics poll, Mr. Dankwa put this together with his team, Musa Dankwa, earlier today, and Rashid Tanko Computer. I'm sure you've seen this detail
very well, yes.
of the poll.
Very well.
Even though the 62% of the respondents say the country is headed in the right direction, when it comes to that question of who would you vote for in the upcoming rerun, they said a by-election, but they changed it to the rerun. 50% of the respondents say that if the elections were held today, they would vote for Matthew Nyendam. 46% said your candidate will be their choice. That's short of 4%, then, and obviously that's enough in elections. It's not, Matthew Nyendam has gotten the 50, and he, if elections were held today, would have been declared winner. But your candidate is trailing by some 4% as well in the constituency. He was an incumbent in the 2024 elections. Matthew Nyendam, former MP, takes over again. It should be giving you some headache, is it not?
Alfred, let me say, we respect the polls of Musa Dankwa. He's an astute pollster. In fact, as a political party, we don't joke with his works. I mean, he's a serious pollster. He's somebody we respect. And so anytime he comes out with polls like that nature, we take it on board. We go onto the drawing board to look at the gray areas and see how best we can quickly work around the clock to avert any difficulty that might come our way. I can give you an example. For instance, in Akotia, you remember at the time we were mourning the loss of our gallant 6 officers who died in the crash. The NPP had taken over Akotia and they were ahead. When he did the polls, we saw that the NPP was leading us in Akotia. But shortly after the burial ceremony and all that, we zoomed into Akotia with all the forces behind us and the powers that be in terms of messages, the messages that we sent to Akotia. You saw that we overturned their initial lead and won the election massively. Look, yes, we agree that, look, there are some difficulties. And as pointed out in his polls, I can assure our supporters and activists that, look, we are left with 2 weeks to go. Within these 2 weeks, I can assure everybody that the NDC is going to win massively. In fact, we have seen where the problems are, and we are zooming into those areas. In fact, it's a communal labor. We are going to make sure that we package our message very well. Just yesterday, we started serious activities. The national officers were in the constituency to meet all the 152 branch executives. In fact, they met them with the regional executives, and we strategized how to move in. Well, as we speak now, we are in the constituency, and things are getting on well. I can assure you by next week, if my good friend Musa Danko should go back to do another one, I can assure you that we will flip the 50%. We would have flipped it and move ahead.
The trends actually tells a story. This is a constituency that not the NPP or the NDC can lay claim to. Both of you have held it, even though you've held it, one more than the NPP, right? Right from 2004 as we tracked all the way to 2024. The margin of victory, especially if the NDC wins, we've seen it higher, at least in 2004. And then you've seen the NPP close the gap and even take over right from 2012 when Matthew Nyandam showed up. He took over this seat on behalf of the NPP, held it in 2016. You had your candidate come back strongly and they showed the mettle in there. So it's one that you would not lay claim solely to say, well, you can confidently hit your chest and say, this is our seat, it's our constituency. This is one of the swing constituencies in that region, is it not? Kpandai.
Alfred, look, Alfred, let me tell you. NPP, they have been rigging election in that constituency.
No, how do you say, we cannot associate with this statement. You are not the electoral commission.
Alfred,
how do you know that they've been rigging elections in the constituency?
Alfred,
how do you know?
Alfred, what is the reason for nullifying the election? Is it not because of rigging? Go and read the ruling.
But this was specific to
taking your time to look at the ruling.
2024 election.
I'll give you an example.
If you say they've been doing,
I'll give you an example.
What do you mean?
Let me give you an example. In one of the statements, the trial judge made mention of a polling station where they voted up to 1,400 people. There is no polling station like that in Ghana. The highest we have in Ghana is 750. That's the highest. That's the threshold for voters in each polling station across the country. So anything above 750 is suspicious votes. For them, they managed to vote up to 1,400 in just one polling station. If you don't describe this one, rigging, Alfred, what word are you going to use again?
Well,
that's why the judge nullified the votes. They have been doing that.
Well, they are contesting that. They are contesting this particular decision. No, I am saying that they are not contesting that.
What they are now contesting is that they should quash the ruling because we fell outside the 20. That's why they are contesting. They are not contesting the 1,400 I'm talking about.
But even with the not just the parliamentary, the presidential as well, they have been closing the gap. Even though in the years that the NPP wins in Kpandai, the presidential NDC wins, even if NPP wins the parliamentary. But then consistently they've closed the gap to the closest we saw in 2024. The trend that I'm speaking to does not support the conclusion that you make that it's just going to be just about rigging because they've been closing the gap over the period. But I just wanted to hold on a bit for me. Professor Smart Sapon is joining us. He is a senior lecturer at the Kumasi Technical University and then also a political analyst. Professor Smart Sapon, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening, Alfred.
Well, you've also been watching the dynamics in the Kpandai constituency, the trends that I just referenced, and the impact of the candidates. Because over the years, you would see that even in the elections that the NPP wins, that Matunyandam won in 2012, John Mahama won the presidential. And in all the years that Matunyandam won, the NDC wins the presidential as well. What does that tell you? How do you see these two playing out, and which one will supersede the other? Quickly.
Look, I can assure you, we are not going to rely on incumbency. We have our own strategy. We have our own strategy, the way we do our things. Because if you look at the way we prosecute our by-elections or reruns, you hardly see us abuse incumbency. Look at what happened at this in Akotia. You saw that we went in with our own strategy plan. We didn't use incumbency at all, and we defeated the NPP. Look, Martin Yindam cannot rely on sympathy, because you cannot rig an election and the High Court dismiss you based on that, and saying that all the votes you got should be a nullity, because we exhibited enough evidence to show that they rigged the election. And I just gave you an example. Two of the polling stations, one recorded 1,200, the other 1,400. How can you allow such an election to go on? It's in the ruling. Go and check the High Court judge ruling. He made reference to those kind of results.
Well, so you are not going to rely on incumbency advantage. What would you rely on?
But we are going to rely on our message.
Okay.
The message of hope, the message that we are here to develop the place for them and make sure that we open up the space for them, for the agriculture sector, and then to their business. You know, Kpandai has two major activities they do. They are into agri and business. They do a lot of agri-business. And we are bringing them a lot of goodies in terms of that aspect that can open up their market space in Kpandai.
Okay.
And we are going to do that. That's the kind of message we are bringing to them. We are not going to abuse incumbency, and I can assure you that, Alfred, we are going to win.
He didn't even talk about abuse of incumbency. He says incumbency advantage. Those are two different things. The incumbency
I know, I do agree. Yes, I do agree. But you see, it play out in an environment where you don't have a good message. Then you want to rely on that. We will not do that. We have a message. And the people know that NDC is a party that they should give their votes to.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, Abusia, we didn't my so our political highway. Dr. Rashid Tanko and I attending or say, yes, 1,400 votes are NPP for at the reggae elections. No, NPP for Nankasama propaganda a year and 1,400 no, smart enough. On the reggae elections na enya ade asa constituency no na 1,400 votes no ebeduru enti no Dr. Rashid Tanko and the what disgrace NPP for na enye asam keto akwa yebra man sesamo je penekokoti sa ensemo e de MI aha Ghana Policies Avenue so madam